Hello children, welcome to the another class in English, and today we will do the chapter verb. So in the last class we did one story from your literature and one poem Rebel. So I hope you all went through it and you might have enjoyed it. So today let us do the topic verb from chapter 5 your grammar right book. Now, the very word verb you might be knowing very nicely. All the action words, like here you can see the children are also doing some action. They are jumping with joy. So, whenever any action word we speak about, like dancing, eating, sleeping, we call it verb. Come on, let us read the passage. A young doctor set up practice in a city. He spent his morning hour at his clinic. In the evening, he treated patients in a free dispensary. After a few months, his old aged father visited him in the city. I hope you are doing well, son, said the father. All the words which are in red color in the passage are verbs. Now, set up, spent, treated, visited. So we come to know that some actions are being taken place with the use of such words and we termed it as verb. So a verb is usually used to say or assert something about persons or things. A verb is used to say or assert something about person or things. It says what a person or thing does, what a person or thing is, or what a person or thing has. So we come to learn three things when we use verb, that what the person or thing does, what the person or thing is, and what a person or thing has. So a verb denotes doing, being, or possessing simultaneously. Okay, so doing means what a person or thing does. By being we understand what the person or thing is, and by possessing we use a person or thing has. Now, object of the verb. Roma likes mangoes. What does Roma like? So the question arises and the answer we get is mangoes. So mangoes here becomes the object of the verb likes, because likes is an action word. So if I only say Roma likes, the question arises what? So mangoes, we are getting the answer for that verb likes. So it becomes the object of the verb. Mohit plays cricket. Now if I ask what does Mohit play? You will say cricket. So cricket becomes the object of the verb plays. So plays is a verb because it's an action word. Now, let us understand now about two kinds of verb, that is transitive and intransitive. Now, here are few examples. Like Roma looks, Manu wastes, he loves. So, children, do you think that this particular group of words are making some sense? Yes, they are making sense, but they are not making complete sense, because when I say Roma looks, you will ask, what does Roma looks? Manu waste. What Manu waste? He loves what? So such questions remain unanswered. So all the above sentences, they are incomplete. So a verb that passes the action from subject to the object, it requires an object to make complete sense. So here also the verbs like look, waste, loves, they are incomplete because they are not answering our questions. What? Right? So they are termed as incomplete verb, and it requires an object to make it complete or to give it a complete meaning. So it is called a transitive verb. So here like look, waste, loves, when I say, it is not completing the sentence. We are not getting the full answer. Still we are unanswered by the question what. So such verb which does not make complete sense, They are called transitive verb. It is followed by noun or a pronoun which act as the object of the verb. So when we add the answer, like for example, Roma looks beautiful. Okay. So here beautiful is completing that particular verb looks. So whenever we are adding noun or a pronoun, that becomes an object of the verb. Now the second type of verb is intransitive verb. Like Mridul walked. Okay. The child cried. Now here when I say these two sentences, Mridul walked. Yes, Mridul walked. It is giving a complete sense. The child cried. So we come to know the child cried. So all the above sentences, they are making complete sense. So these two verbs like walked and cried, they are giving us complete meaning. So they do not require an object. So a verb that does not pass the action from subject to object means after the verb, if we are not adding any object or it doesn't, the subject is not requiring any object, we call it an intransitive verb or we call it a complete verb. Okay. So intransitive does not require an object, whereas transitive, which we did earlier, requires an object. So here you may see more about it. A transitive verbs may take more than one object. Now, as I told you, a transitive verb is an incomplete verb which requires an object to give it a complete meaning. So, when we write a transitive verb, it has object. We know that it requires an object, but it may require two objects also. A direct object is usually that which is affected by the action shown by the verb. Like when I say Rita teaches music, we ride bikes. So you can see the direct objects are directly affected by the verb. So it is immediately followed by the verb. And here music and bikes, they are helping to complete the meaning and it acts as a direct object for the verb teaches and ride. An indirect object is a person to whom something is given or for whom something is done. For example, Rita teaches music to high school students. Okay. Now, it is being given to the the music. Rita teaches music whom? To high school students. So we are getting the answer whom. Mother gave me a bike on my birthday. So mother gave me. Okay, gave is a verb. So me, here it becomes an indirect object. Bike, it becomes a direct object. So here children, two things you have to learn, that when I say a direct object, here generally music and bikes, direct object is generally not, we may say it is always, direct object is a non-living object. Whereas an indirect object, we call it a living object. So always you will find indirect object like students, me, this all are living persons. So indirect object will always have a living person, whereas direct object will have a non-living object. Now let us see what is a finite verb. A finite verb, or we may say a main verb, is a verb that has subject and changes form to show a change in the tense or time of an action. It also changes form according to change in the number of the subject. Like for example, he dances, we dance, we are dancing, he danced. Okay, now here children, when I say a finite verb is a verb which will change when we are changing the subjects. Like what are the subjects here? He, we, he, right? So subject of the sentence we know about whom we are talking. So such verb, when they are added with such subjects, they are changing when we are changing the subjects. Like with he, we can make it dances. We dance, because we is the plural form of noun. subject, it's a plural subject, we. So we, it become dance. Now we are dancing, he danced. Okay, so he is the third person. So dances. So we can see this verb dance, dances, dancing, they are changing when we are changing the subject, like he, we, isn't it? So whenever it is changes, such verb which changes with the change of the subject, we call it a finite verb. Now, what is a non-finite verb? There are some verbs which do not change whenever we are changing the subject also, or which do not change form according to changes in the tenses or number. They are called non-finite verb, means even if we are changing the subjects or the tenses, that verb will never change. So they are called non-finite verbs. They never act as the main verb in a sentence. Okay. So they don't have a very important role in a sentence. Yes, they are acting as a verb but not main verb. Like Karuna likes painting. Karuna and her sister like painting flowers. I like painting scenery. Now you will find here when it is likes, that is the present tense, and Karuna is a singular subject, so painting. Karuna and her sister, and we have added means there's a plural form because two things are here, Karuna and sister. So painting, still painting is there. I liked painting. Now painting is, again it is not changed with the first person, that is I. So you may find whenever we are using Karuna is the third person, I is the third person. So whenever we are changing the persons, this painting which is a verb, it is not affected. It is not changing whenever we are changing the subjects or whenever we are changing the tenses like likes, liked, like, isn't it? So such verb which does not change with the change of the subject or the tense, we call it a non-finite verb. And non-finite verb may be in the present tense also, past tense also. Okay, so that way you have to see. So finite verb also have present tense, past tense. Now there are three types of non-finite verbs. First is the infinitives. They are usually of the form to plus verb or to be plus verb. Like I want to visit Shimla this summer. I like to walk in the rain. Now here you will find to visit, to walk. That means to plus visit is the verb, to plus walk. So whenever we are using to plus verb, we call it infinitives. Now what are gerunds? Gerunds, they are the ing forms of verb which are used as a noun. Always remember, it is used as a noun in a sentence and it is in the ing form. Like swimming is a good way to keep fit. So what is a swimming? It is ing form and it is used as a noun. What is a noun? Something is noun. Like if I can put the question like this, something is a good way to keep fit. What it is that something? Swimming. Then running is the best exercise. Which is the best exercise? So we are getting the answers for such questions. So whenever we get in a noun form, when they act as a noun in a sentence, okay, and you may see it is here used as a subject form. So we can call such, whenever we get the answer for which, okay, like or something. Something is a good, you can put the question like this. Something is good way to keep fit. What is that something? Swimming. You are getting the answer. Running is the best exercise. Something is the best exercise, that is running. Smoking is injurious to health. Like what is injurious to health? Smoking. So whenever we get such answers ending with ing form and they are used as a noun in a sentence, we call it gerunds. Now what are participles? Participles, they are being formed by adding ing, ed, en to the main verb. Like he has eaten dinner, she is performing today. So these participles, they are acting as a, here you may say, we are using it as an adjective. Like because it is qualifying the nouns or pronouns. Like he has eaten. So here we are using for he. It is qualifying he. He has done what? He has eaten. She is performing. So again, performing is used for the noun she, isn't it? For the for the subject she. Eaten is used for the subject he. So whenever it is used as a noun plus adjective, they are called as participles. So they sometimes work as adjective in a sentence, like he sat on a broken chair. What kind of chair? Broken chair. So here broken becomes an adjective. So, and it is in the en form. So we call it a participle. This is an interesting book. Now book again is a noun. What kind of book? Interesting. So you will find whenever the noun, the verb either in ed form, en form or ing form is used as an adjective in a sentence, we call it a participle. So participle is acting as a noun plus adjective, whereas gerund we saw it was acting as a noun plus, it was acting as a verb plus noun. Okay. Now let us see what is a complement of verb. The children looked. He put the bat. These group of words contain a subject and a verb. Where is the subject? The children. And where is the verb? Looked. But need additional words to complete their meanings. Now look at this sentence. The children looked happy. Looked is a finite verb. Why it is a finite verb? Because here this looked can be changed according to the change in the subject or tenses. So we call it a finite verb that needs additional word to complete the meaning. The word happy acts as a complement of the verb looked. So we are adding more to looked to make it more complete. So such words may be a complement of verb which may be not a noun or a pronoun. Okay. So here this happy is completing the verb looked, which is helping it to make it more complete. So that word looked happy will become the complement. Now what is the subject complement? Like Shalini felt happy on hearing the news. In this sentence the verb felt is an intransitive verb, because when I say Shalini felt, the phrase happy on hearing the news is complement of the verb. The complement refers to the subject Shalini. Okay. So it is called the subject complement. So Shalini felt happy. As I told you, happy is not a verb. Okay. So that happy, you may say that is happy on hearing the news group of words as a phrase which is completing the verb felt. So it is subject complement as it is referring to the subject Shalini. What is an object complement? Which comes after the verb, like he put the bat under the table. Now the verb put is a transitive verb because the object here is the bat and it needs a word under the table to complete its meaning. So it refers to the object and is therefore called object complement because it is coming after the verb put. So an object complement is usually a noun, an adjective, an adverb or an adverb phrase. So children, I hope today you have learnt many things about verb, and the most important thing is that you have to first see what is a verb, its kinds, like we did finite, non-finite, gerund, participles. Then here also we did transitive and intransitive. So all of you are required to thoroughly go through this chapter because it's not an easy thing. You may get confused between a participle, gerund, finite, non-finite. So very carefully you go through the examples. Then only you try to do the exercises. So wish you all the best for this chapter because it's a little bit complicated. So prepare nicely so that there should not be any confusion in future. Thank you for learning.